Hello, welcome back to BLENDERSUSHI live noding. In this episode, we're just gonna do a quick one. It's just a breakdown of this structure that looks like kind of like a spider web, kind of like just bunch of lines, and each lines have is made of this skin modifier, as you might have guessed. Let me try selecting one of them. Each of the thread is actually a separate object, separate skin modifier, and I'm gonna show you how I created this. So we have the skin mesher here, and then it's generating all these. Kind of would be nice if there is like a group option here. For now, I will just gonna select all of this object and put it on different layer, and we're gonna check the preview. Okay, that's just the points and edges, and we have 100 of them, 100 of lines, and each of them is being sampled 100 times, so 100 points and 100 vertices. If I reduce this number, maybe we can see it more clearly. I'll reduce it to 10. So now we only have 10 of these random lines, interconnecting lines. They are still sampled like 100 times. I can reduce that to maybe like 50 or 20. Now we can see what's going on. How I created this is basically super simple. I start with a circle, and if I use a viewer draw, we can see the circle. I'm gonna plug that in, turn that off. So just a normal circle, and the circle is gonna generate all these points, and then I have this node list shuffle that's gonna shuffle the index of the circle, but it's generating the same point basically, and then I zip them together and then connects the dots using UV connection, so we get this kind of pattern. And then the next one, I'm using the polygon boom. What's polygon boom gonna do is gonna separate all the edges in this case, and since we have 16 vertices here, 16 points, it's gonna separate it into 16 edges. And then once we're separating all the edges, I'm using vector interpolations and doing resampling of each of these edges. So if I check it right here, after I made the UV connections, we're gonna end up with this guy. So all the edges are unique. Each one of them is unique, and each one being resampled depending on this vector interpolations count. I can make it like 60, 80, so whatever. So each one of them is a separate data, and you can see the number here, 16. So if I increase the number here, 25 for example, it's gonna update accordingly. We can actually replace the lines with any kind of data. For example, currently it's just a circle being shuffled, but we can also use line, for example. So I'm gonna use line, and I'm gonna use just a different kind of data. List zip. So list zip here is the key. I'm gonna use a viewer draw. Check the data. I'm gonna turn off this guy. Let's make like 10 of these guys. So a line with 10 points, and then I'm gonna make another line being offset slightly. So this line being offset slightly in the y-axis, for example. So I get that. Gonna use a vector in just to be clear. So line being offset few units in the y, and I will combine the two data, and then I'll use UV connection, and then gonna resample the data, and then the result is something like that. Just points connected to another points, kind of a pairing, and then here I can still change the number of line and then change the stepping, and also I can shuffle the line using list shuffle. So we end up with this. So you might have seen this in the past, but we are now using this skin modifier, and then so we can have this like a sausage line quite easily. And if we use this vector noise, and if we provide the right numbers, like in this case it's 100, so if we give it a 100, it's gonna update accordingly. It's skin modifier is like a beta kind of node, so you need to provide it with the right number of data in order for it to work properly. Like in this case, we have 100 samples, so we need to provide it with 100 radius data in order for it to work. So yeah, it's rather simple, but can be quite interesting actually, this kind of pattern. Let's say instead of this lines, we can also use a different kind of data once again. So we have first we have the circle. I'm gonna group this, Control J, and then we have the line, group it, and then let's say if we are using like grid can be useful as well. I think just a plane, use plane, and then use kind of number, random number. Let's make like 16 of them, plane, and then we're gonna use another zip, list zip, and we want to have like the pair for this guy, but we're gonna shuffle the index. So another list shuffle, and this zip. So we plug that in and plug this guy in, plug that in, just replace that data, and we should have a result 16, and they are currently on top of each other, but you can see the pattern is, this one is quite nice actually. I quite like it. It's quite unusual. If I increase the number, see, it's gonna update accordingly, generating all this unusual pattern. I totally didn't plan this. It's just kind of accidental, but I like this kind of thing. It's kind of okay. Didn't plan it, but it's kind of okay, giving you different result every time, and there's like an unlimited variations. Let's make this like 12 by 12, so we have 144 lines. Be careful, this might get heavy, but I think 1000 lines, so 100,000 sample of this line should be okay. If you want it to be more interesting, perhaps I can kind of flip this grid so they're not touching each other. Maybe even using like a random number, it's like a scatter point will be more interesting. But I'll try like 16 lines, and then gonna lift this up. Vector math. Plug that in. It's gonna move this guy up. In the z-axis, for example, 10. So now you can see that's looking so much like a spider web. Although you might notice that we don't have variations on the noise, so that's something we need to fix right away. Let's say we put it like that. We might want to randomize the seed here with the noise and the skin modifier. This the result's gonna be much better. Range integer. For the seed we need 100 variations, and then start step. Just plug it in. Hopefully we get a different result. Okay. We probably have too many variations there. We don't need 100. We actually need 4 times 8, so 32. So that's some things that you need to be aware of. Okay, I quite like this design. If you like kind of wanna have this kind of structure, and then you kind of make the camera going through it. It's kind of like the Spider-Man, the movie. I kind of like it. We can make it more intricate by increasing the number, but normally I don't. For me, it's like increasing the number, okay, adds complexity, but I don't like too big of a number. But sometimes we just want to test it out. 4 times 16, 64. So we need to make sure that the number is. We provide enough data for this. Okay, now we have the variations. So that's quite a nice design. Imagine you have a room like this, full of this generative spider web. Kind of nice. Maybe give it a madcap color. Let's move this guy up a little bit, maybe like 30. You can shuffle it, you can randomize the seed, and perhaps you want to add more like a structure behind it, but I think this is basically the idea. Step X and step Y, maybe step X6. So as long as you got like a 2 pair of points, you can generate this easily. You're not limited to 2 pair of lines. You can actually add more and zip all the data together, as long as you know what you're doing. This is actually, it's not supposed to be polygon, it's supposed to be edges. Sometimes like you might be giving like the data that's not correct in SpreadShock, but it works. So you need to be careful with that. This UV should be edges, I think. Edges. And calculating. Okay, that's probably more correct than before. The line's becoming too thin at the moment. Maybe I need to change the noise. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about this vector noise. So basically this is just a scalar. I'm using Voronoi F2, but I can change it to standard Berlin. Here I'm just using like random noise for these lines to generate these kind of variations in the spider web for each of the spider web. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this live noding video. Maybe just another idea if you want to make something like this. If you have any question, feedbacks, just let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next video.